Are you ready to stop riding the emotional elevator of life? Are you ready to learn how to elevate your emotions that keep you psychologically traumatized or in an addictive behavior? You are in the right place. Here is your host, Sandee Byrd, trauma, addiction, life, and spiritual coach of the Emotional Elevator Show.
Good evening, everyone. I am Sandee Byrd. I am the host here, trying to get rid of this wand. I am the host here of Emotional Elevator on Inspired Choices Network. And a little bit about me, I am a coach. I'm more of a transformational coach through midlife crisis. That sounds pretty good. Transformational coach through midlife crisis. And sometimes we got to transmute is the word. I don't know why I was thinking of that word, but this is, of course, live TV. So words come and you just play with it. So you basically transform yourself into the person you really know you are in this time in life. Starting kind of in your mid 40s, when you're starting, some people start becoming empty nesters. You really sit there and go, okay, who am I now? And what is my label? What is my title? And that's what I work with women on. I'm willing to work with men, but I work with a lot of women because it's also unraveling that trauma. And it's also unraveling those false beliefs and false values that we've held on to. If we've been raised in a certain societal norm and we were like, that's not who I really am. But it's getting into that. And that's what I work with women on through my programs is finding out who you really are and who you want to become. What really are your values? What gets you up in the morning? What is your life's purpose? What are you meant to do? Especially if you've identified with being a mom, being a caregiver, being a working mom, and then all of a sudden now you have this, in a sense, freedom to be who it is you want to be. So that's what I work with women on. And three of my programs are unleashing your authentic self because sometimes we don't even know who we are authentically until we start redefining ourselves midlife. Like I thought who I was is not who I really have been all my life or who I've been meant to be. Or it's thriving through forgiveness because that is a big, big transition in life when we start realizing or start unraveling the trauma that we've dealt with most of our life. We start realizing that I need to thrive through this. I need to excel myself through this. And then my last program is all about finding the empowerment within, setting those healthy boundaries, looking out for ourselves, finding our voice within ourselves. And that's where my show, The Emotional Elevator, came from. And I did have a previous one, a previous podcast, but we're not going into that. But Emotional Elevator all came about me learning that I have a powerful voice. And I talk about a lot of topics that some people don't want to talk about or want to talk about, but don't know how to start the conversation. And that's what I work with my clients on is once they really figure out who they truly are and it's not in any particular order, like this isn't a program where you got to start level 1 is finding your authentic self, 2 is thriving through forgiveness, and 3 is no, it's where I feel you are the best fit. And once you start finding the empowerment within, you start doing things that you normally might not do, and it just going places you might not go, eating maybe by yourself because you really enjoy certain foods and maybe your husband or you're single now doesn't enjoy the same things, or you want to get out and figure out how can I meet somebody new without being on the internet and going through social media and meeting a facade. How about meeting the real thing, a person at first meeting? So that's all about what I work with women on is those three, I don't even know what I was going to say, groups, classes, whatever you want to say, but it's all about figuring out who you are in life and who you want to be and letting go of these stereotypes or letting go of what it is that has been holding you back or holding you down and finding that voice to speak up for yourself. But tonight's show is all about masculine energy versus feminine energy. And in this episode of Emotional Elevator, I, Sandee Byrd, will talk about balancing masculine energy versus feminine energy and embracing the journey of learning to release control of the masculine energy in my marriage. Join me as I share my story of navigating past traumas, abusive relationships, and infidelities, recognizing how my need to control everything took on a masculine role shaping those experiences. This year has been a powerful journey of self discovery, leading me to a profound realization. I am seeking independent strength and control because I've always had to rely on myself. In the process, I wasn't allowing the masculinity of the men in my life, in turn, creating a cycle of validation of their masculinity through infidelity or abuse. Today, I am deeply in a supportive marriage with a partner who is a doer, a provider, allows me to be a feminine in my home. I've learned that I can embody strength and confidence in my career, embracing that masculine energy in my professional life, and still come home to relax in my feminine self. I'm teaching other women that we can embody both being confident and strong without taking on the roles of masculine and feminine energies. So that's what tonight's show is all about. And it's about learning and teaching women that come to me that never knew or never felt like they ever had feminine energy within themselves. And sometimes it does come from the trauma we've gone through where we feel like we have to be in control. And where I see this energy a lot from is when we have been abused as a child, or we've been in the alcoholic situations, or we even come from divorced parents where we feel like we have to defend for ourselves. So we become these control freaks and these, I shouldn't say control freaks, but we become to the point where we have had to raise ourselves on our own. So we don't know what it's feminine. And I've learned more so just recently. I've thought that the reason that there's been infidelity in almost all my relationships or abuse in all my relationships into my marriage now, that it was because of my trauma. And I'm starting to believe as I'm working with more women and talking with more women who have gone through similar situations that I have or similar traumas that I have, that they too have found themselves in the same situations where they've gone through infidelity or abuse. And I'm realizing as I'm around them that it's because we don't know how to bring in that feminine energy within ourselves or in our home lives. And that has been a big embracing part of me, even in this year in my marriage. See, I've been with my current husband for 12 years, married for almost 8 years. Yeah, sorry, I got to count it down. Been with him 13 years, almost married 8 years. Wow, time flies when you're having fun. And just recently realizing that I was carrying still so much masculine energy, and I don't have to anymore. I don't have to anymore. And teaching other women that they can let go of the masculine energy has also freed me of letting go and being a feminine. And what I'm going to say is if anyone out there around my age, I'm not sure how many people might remember Dr. Ruth. I loved watching Dr. Ruth. I think I was even a teenager when Dr. Ruth was on, maybe in my early 20s, maybe in my 30s. And she was a sweet old lady, and she talked about sex in the marriage. And I remember one episode she talked about, you got to be a woman and you all these things. And it never really occurred to me that, in a sense, she was right, even though she talked a lot more about the sex part of it. And if you don't know who it is, look it up. But it's all about how we as women can be these very dominant, masculine energy women out in the workplace. But when we come home, if we have a supportive man, let it go. Be feminine. Enjoy that. See, in the last 2 years, and a lot has to do with caring for my mother-in-law, my husband's mother, and her telling me, why do you feel like you've got to be in control? Let him be in control. And even my own daughter, Mom, you're finally married to a man's man. Let him be a man. Don't drive him away. And I was like, drive him away? He ain't going nowhere. But I realized when I kept trying to pull that masculine energy from him, it is a turnoff. Some men like to feel confident within themselves that they can be a doer, be a provider, be a fixer in the house. And I did a post recently which tied into the show, did talk about that, how I'm able to let go and how now I'm teaching other women that they can let go and be these. It's very hard, it's not easy, but just letting go, taking these little steps in their marriage to just start letting go when they're with that man that maybe they've never had before. Maybe they've been in like my previous marriage with my kid's father. It wasn't that he wasn't a man, he never got the masculine role, and I never had that masculine role. I saw it with my stepmother and my father, but I didn't have it in the household. So I didn't know what it meant to be a true wife and woman. Doesn't mean you're submissive and, oh, whatever he says you do. No. What I'm talking about is just letting him do. Because one of the biggest things is my husband built a room above our garage for one of my kids. He's built a sound studio for one of my son and him built a sound studio on the other half of our house. Neither rooms are being used. They're storage rooms at this point, but he did that. But yet sometimes when he's in the house and he's going to do something, I'm like, oh no, do it. No, yeah. And I'm trying to stop him and I'm trying to control it when I know he knows what he's doing. So why can't I just sit in the chair and admire that he's a man and he's taking care of it? It's the same thing as I always, at one point, got to a point where I felt like, oh, well, let me prove my worth to him by mowing the lawn. It's not something I enjoy doing, but I did it because I wanted him to get a sense. And right away, I could see like I was deflating that balloon. Like, that's my job. My job is to mow the lawn, mulch the leaves, rake the leaves. Yeah, sometimes I go out there with them because it's a great workout, but I wasn't letting him be the man, taking care of the outside of the house. Yes, my husband still cooks. He enjoys cooking. If I'm not home, he does clean when I travel. But when I am home, it's not making him feel like he doesn't have a role in the house. See, in my first marriage, I did do a lot of that and I criticized a lot of it. And he lost what little bit of manlyhood I guess he felt he had. So that's why he went outside the marriage. And the reason I can tie this into that is because recently I did have a conversation. That's why this show came up with someone who was talking to me about a mutual friend. And they were like, well, I just don't get why he would like cheat on her. She's like the creme of the crop. And she's this great person. She's this leader. I mean, she's in charge of this company and she's this leader and she's just such a phenomenal person. And he walks around with a dog with a tail between his legs. And they were all like, I mean, he did it. And I'm like, yeah, but I kind of see the other side. And they're like, what do you mean? And I said, you're a man. You and I know each other. How would you feel if we were married and I did everything? I'd feel useless. We don't know if that was the situation, but at the same time, what if he felt that he wasn't a man and he was lacking confidence within himself, like some women do, and I'll get into that. What if he was lacking so much confidence because he didn't feel he was doing anything right at home that he went and found somebody who could validate him. Well, I mean, why would he pick somebody that was only a bartender? Well, maybe because that bartender made him feel like a man. Think about that, women. Sometimes we need to let our men be men. And I'm not saying in everything and be submissive. I'm just saying let go of some of those control. If a man knows how to change a light bulb, let's stop correcting them how they're changing the light bulb. Let them change it. Give them that praise. Let him do those things. Because I can tell you, I was that woman, and I have a client that because they don't do it A, B, and C, they want to. Oh, probably shouldn't have hit that because it probably vibrated my mic, but they don't do it A, B, and C. They do it B, C, D. They're not doing it right. Well, how do you know? Maybe that's the way they were taught to do it. So give them that freedom. And how you do it is by learning to just walk away. And I know that's not easy. If you know, sorry, kind of got the burps a little bit, but if you know that your husband's going to do something that's going to challenge you, go do something for yourself. Leave the house. Say, oh, I'm going to run to the store. I need to get some sugar or something. I don't know why I'm saying sugar, but get what I'm saying? Leave if you're challenged. So you're listening to me. I am Sandee Byrd on Emotional Elevator on the Inspired Choices Network. Reach out to me at sandeebirdcoach@gmail.com or Sandee at Emotional Elevator. If you want to reach out with me, if this is a conversation you want to have about how do I release this masculine energy that's inside of me and give in to allowing my husband, or maybe if it's even a boyfriend that you're dating that you're just keep correcting the way they do things. So again, we're going to go on this break, and you're listening to Sandee Byrd on Emotional Elevator.
Are you living a life of psychological trauma or suffering from an addiction? Are you ready to learn new techniques to elevate your emotions without sustaining or obtaining them from substances that are not good for your mind or body? Then continue to tune into Emotional Elevator with trauma, addiction, life, and spiritual coach, Sandee Byrd, where you will learn techniques to elevate your emotions that don't require a magic pill, food, or impulsive behavior. Listen to Emotional Elevator with Sandee Byrd, Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Mountain, 4 p.m. Pacific, on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is Emotional Elevator with Sandee Byrd. To participate in this program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also send an email to sandy@emotionalelevator.com. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. Tonight I've been talking about masculine energy versus feminine energy, and embracing your feminine energy can be challenging when you are still carrying trauma. We as women can let go of our masculine energy when we are in a safe and healthy relationship. Let your man be a man. It's okay to let go of some of the control in your relationship. Go and do something for yourself. These are key topics I discuss with my clients, and this is something that I really realized I wanted to start embrace in the last year, and teaching other women how to embrace your feminine energy when you've been through trauma in some challenging relationships that maybe have had abuse or infidelity, so you feel like you've got to take on all this masculine energy. See, for many years, I've been in an environment, or let's just say, when I started being a bar manager, I was one of the few women in my area that was a female and became a bar manager. So my expectation was to take on that masculine energy by carrying kegs and, oh, I can do all this. I worked out. I can do all this. I can be this man. And I carried it into my personal life. I got this. I don't need you. Okay. If we feel that way as women and have confidence issues, just think when we say these things to men in our life, what are we doing to them? Especially if they're also questioning their confidence because maybe their dad wasn't in their life or their dad wasn't as supportive to them. Because if you listen to most men, as moms, sometimes we coddle our sons and stuff and praise them. But if the father doesn't do it, sometimes they don't get the confidence they need in the world. And so when they find a woman that is this, oh, wow, she's hot, she's powerful, I love her. And then you get in this relationship and you get home and she's like, I got this. I don't need you. How do you think they feel at this point? Now that I can reflect in my own life and talk with clients about this, why do you think my first husband might have had we might have had infidelity issues? I mean, I can sit back now and really look and say it was all on him. He was a piece of crap. No, it might have been a lot to do. He's not alive, so I can't have this discussion, but it might have been a lot to do with that I continuously made him feel like a little boy and not a man. I can take care of this. I can do this. I'm paying the bills. I'm painting the rooms. I'm mowing the lawn. I'm doing everything. What are you doing? How do you think that might have made him feel that he wasn't a man? And I started taking that on because of my own insecurities. See, I hear a lot in my life about me being a very powerful, confident woman. And gosh, sometimes your presence is known in the room because I am like just got such masculine energy. I've heard this from many psychics or energy readers that you just got a lot of masculine energy with you because I'm powerful. I don't have a lot of masculine energy with me. I have feminine energy that's just becoming confident within it. And when I, over courses of years, heard that, I took on that role. And I don't want to take on that role anymore. So it has been a power struggle, even in my marriage, until recently when I really realized I don't need to tell him how to nail in a nail. He just built a room in this house without my help. How many of us women drive from the passenger seat because we don't think our man can? How many of us are correct the way they drive? See, there's sometimes I have to really restrain myself, and now I'll like turn on the music and I'll turn and I'll be like, "Oh, look at that nice." I forgot I need to keep looking at my mic. Nice tree over there. What kind of tree is that? What's that? Ooh, there's a dead deer on the road, or something to keep me focused so I'm not trying to tell him how to drive. And that is something that I'm still challenged with, but he's never had an accident. Yes, he's been hit from behind, but well, technically, yes, on a motorcycle. He's rode motorcycles, he's raced motorcycles, raced cars, driven cars. He drives for companies he's been with that are the same he's been with same age as I am, and he's never had accidents. So why do I feel the need to correct him driving? And as women, we do that a lot. And we're taking away that masculine energy. So, what are the steps I teach women on how to kind of embrace their feminine energy? It's not go home and wrap yourself in cellophane and wait for him to come home and have the dinner in your hand and do a Harlequin romance. I think that's what it was, Harlequin. I'm not even sure romance or what Dr. Ruth would tell you to do. Be a freak in the sheets. That's not what I mean. That's what I mean is to kind of sit back and praise him for even if it's little things in the house. It's changing a light bulb, not doing it yourself, maybe letting him change the light bulb. And if he goes, well, why didn't you just do it yourself? Then you can say, you know what? If you'd rather I change it, then let me know. Because it's giving the man a little bit of his power back. It's not, what do you want me to do? You want me to cook? Do you want me to clean? That's not even what I'm referring to. That's being more submissive. What I'm referring to is just taking a step back, asking him for guidance when it comes to the house. If he wants you to mow the lawn, let him let you mow the lawn, but let him kind of have that if that's something he does. Fixing things. If that's what he enjoys doing, don't correct him on it. If he makes the mistake, then let him call the plumber. If he needs your help in that, he's going to ask. See, that was the biggest thing. I would stand over my husband and go, what are you doing? Yeah, wait a minute. You're going to put the nail there? Why not here? I don't know why I ever did that. I don't know how to build things. He rebuilt a engine, Jeep engine. He'd never done that before in his life with 3 of my kids. Taught them all how to change oil. I could have never done that. Taught them how to change their flat tires, but if I get a flat tire, I should call him because he wants to be that man. But it doesn't mean I just sit there. I offer to help, but I don't offer to advise. There's a difference. Offer to help, don't offer to advise. Give him some of his power back. And if you're listening to me and you're a woman and you're challenging what I say, challenge me. Get on a conversation with me. Reach out to me at Sandee with those 2 E's, Byrd, BYRD, coach@gmail.com. Oh, and all my social media platforms are Sandee Byrd because I finally decided to release my maiden name. So I am Sandee Byrd at, on social media. SANDEEBYRD. That's who I am. And I'm embracing a marriage where I can be a feminine, have my feminine energy when I'm at home with him and around our kids, and have masculine energy when I'm out there promoting my business and out there in the work environment. And it has been so amazing because another thing that used to kind of get under, rattle my feathers or whatever you say, back when I really married my husband now, my kids would call him all the time. And I'd be like, well, why are they calling you? Because they had a flat tire and they needed me to come out and help them because they couldn't get the spare off, or um, like they need help. They want to change a belt on their car and they want me to help them. And instead of me going, okay, I want to come, I would just let them go. Sometimes I would work, but then I would just let him go and not just stand there and be like, oh, maybe you should do it this way. Maybe you should do it that way. It was teaching my men too to have that masculine energy by having masculine energy around them. Like I say, and I teach other women, Ask. Don't advise. Offer. Don't suggest. Let them come to you if they need help. Hey, honey, I need you to hold the ladder so I can clean the gutters. Okay. Not, well, maybe if you put the ladder here and do this and do that. No, just be there to support them in that masculine energy. And then when you're in the workforce or up there in the world promoting your business, then take on that masculine energy of promoting, because the masculine energy is that kind of fight, that kind of grit, energy within all of us. And even there's some men out there that have feminine energy and they enjoy that feminine energy. They're the ones that don't like to be out there doing the yard work, don't like to get their hands dirty. And that's okay, because those are the same ones that might hire people and pay for them to do that. And there's nothing wrong with a woman having masculine energy. That's not what I'm saying. There's nothing wrong with a man having feminine energy. But if you are a woman and you are struggling in your marriages because you want to be in control, that might be it, because you're taking on too much of a masculine energy when a man is already might be a little bit feeling a little bit of confidence issues. And now all you're doing is making them even more feeling of incompetent or lack of confidence, lack of self-worth, lack of value. So remember that when you're even in a relationship, remember that. If he asks for help, help. But if he doesn't ask for help, don't give him advice, because that means he knows what he's doing. So that's what the topic is. And when we come back, because it's time for our next break, I'll give you some tips and tools on how to do that, and some suggestions I give the women that I work with on how to invite that feminine energy back into your life and stop trying to control the man in your life that is and wanting to be the man, and how you can relinquish your control. So we're going to go on this next break. And when we come back, we will talk about the tools and tricks to kind of embrace your feminine energy while with a masculine man. But you're listening to Sandee Byrd, or watching me, Sandee Byrd, on Emotional Elevator on the Inspired Choices Network. If you're listening to me on any platforms and you like what I have to say and you've listened to some of my broadcasts, like and subscribe. You can always leave a comment, or you can reach out to me at Sandee with 2 E's, Byrd, B-Y-R-D, coach@gmail.com. And I'm on all social media platforms as Sandee with those 2 E's, Byrd, B-Y-R-D. And if you want to learn tools or have tools to teach yourself how to be more feminine, let's get on a conversation call. But let's get to that break.
Are you living a life of psychological trauma or suffering from an addiction? Are you ready to learn new techniques to elevate your emotions without sustaining or obtaining them from substances that are not good for your mind or body? Then continue to tune into Emotional Elevator with trauma, addiction, life, and spiritual coach, Sandee Byrd, where you will learn techniques to elevate your emotions that don't require a magic pill, food, or impulsive behavior. Listen to Emotional Elevator with Sandee Byrd, Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Mountain, 4 p.m. Pacific, on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is Emotional Elevator with Sandee Byrd. To participate in this program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also send an email to sandy@emotionalelevator.com. Now, back to the program.
Well, welcome back. I am Sandee Byrd. I'm the host here on Emotional Elevator, and you can always reach me at sandeebyrdcoach@gmail.com or sandy@emotionalelevator.com, and my website, sandeebyrd.com, social media, Sandee Byrd. And if you want to get on a connection conversation, you can. We can just get on a call. We can talk about all the services that I offer to dive into your feminine side or who you are meant to be. And what I've talked a lot about on this is all about embracing your feminine energy and letting go of that masculine energy when you are at home or when you're in a committed relationship with a man or a partner that has the masculine energy, because I'm not being exclusive to a man or a partner who is taking on the masculine role. And what I kind of have talked about is letting your man be a man. It's okay to let go of some of the control in your relationships. Go and do something for yourself. Being a powerful and confident woman can sometimes turn into a power struggle when in a relationship. That is so true. That's what I've faced most of my life and what I've talked about. I talked a little bit about like the Harlequin romance, can never pronounce that right. And they used to like have these big things. That's not what I mean when I talk about the feminine energy. What I mean by that is just embracing a healthy relationship with a man, allowing him to be that man. Especially as men, they struggle too with their own confidence. And when we as women are very strong in our control and our masculine energy because of our own lack of confidence that we don't want them to see, we end up turning them off. So, embracing your feminine energy means letting go of your masculine energy and giving your man his power back. Offering help is different than advising, giving your man his power back. So, something that I started learning to do instead of trying to control my husband, who he can build rooms, he can do so much phenomenal things. He's rebuilt our deck. He rebuilt a teeny deck so that he could get to the windows so he could wash them better and replace them. So he's amazing. Why do I need to correct him? Because it's something that's been inside of me my whole entire life. But now, one of the tools I teach even the women that I work with when they struggle with this too, and they wonder why the men that they're with seem to feel inadequate around them. And what I tell them is go out and offer to help, but ask them to teach you. Ask them to teach you. Don't try to correct them. Oh, well, why are you hammering it this way? Say, teach me how this is done. Like, my husband has redone floors in this house. We redid a kitchen. He did a lot of the work. They brought in the cabinets. He did the rest of the work. Same thing with our bathroom. Him and one of our neighbor rebuilt our master bathroom, took out a skylight. He did that. I can tell you one of the times I traveled so that I wasn't here to kind of get in it and try to control the situation. And then I also asked the questions. Well, why are you using that? Why are you doing that? What do you think about this color palette versus that color palette? And why would you say match this with that? Or just ask the questions. Because in a sense, if you are a control freak, like me and some of my clients, that's what they struggle with because of their past trauma. Ask questions instead. You're still involved, but you're allowing them their masculine energy to guide you and to help you understand. Same thing in the car. If they're driving and you're trying to drive from the passenger seat, Listen to radio, bring your headphones, do something to get out of the control. Get out of the control mindset and just sit back. Because now when I think about it, whenever he drives somewhere, and I used to be that passenger driver and I teach other women, think of it as a chauffeur situation. Think about being in that situation and that you've got a chauffeur driving you around. And just think how great and confident it would be if you could just let go and be a woman and have him embrace that feminine side of you. What would it feel like to let go control and just be a woman, to be catered to have a man take care of you? Think of that. What is the benefit of a man providing for you and taking care of you? What would the benefit of that be? Just to come home, and what I enjoy, and one of the benefits I teach my clients is just enjoy that freedom, that sense of nourishment from somebody else. Because if you are in a committed relationship and somebody wants to take care of you and you work and can provide for yourself, think how rewarding that could be. And think about the benefits I have where I don't have to mow the lawn on a Saturday. I don't have to break the leaves. I can go get a pedicure, a manicure, be a woman, do the things a woman enjoys doing sometimes. Getting a massage doesn't mean you, if he wants to enjoy something like that with you, enjoy that with him as well. But think about what the benefits would be just to have a day to sit and read a book. What would it feel like to have a day where you didn't have to do those things because you had a man that took care of it and you could just read a book, spend a day just caring for yourself? And if you're a woman that has kids still, just think of the benefits of all that you do for your family and to be able to have that moment for yourself to just be. What would it feel like just to be a woman in her own skin, not having to have control of something, to actually be able to just kind of melt into your favorite chair? Think about that. Think about getting in the car if they enjoy driving, feeling like you have a chauffeur. Let's go here, let's go there. How many times, if you were in the car, do you just go from point A to B because that's all you want to do? But think about it, if your husband's there and is willing to drive you everywhere, you might go to A, B, and C, and D because you're not the one driving. Take a nap while he's driving. Think about that. Listening to your favorite podcast, listening to a relationship podcast together, riding down the road, singing songs together. We like to do that with 70s music. And that keeps me focused on not telling him how to drive, but it we're so my husband and I are 15 years apart. So I'll play songs from the 70s and he'll be like, "Yeah, this is my second year, you know, working for Dominion." He worked for Dominion Power, one of our local power companies. And I'm like, "Yeah, I was 3 years old." And we'll joke about it. but I know the same songs and I sing the same songs. And then we'll even have joking stories of times when we were drinking or dating somebody while listening to music. But think about that. That's one of the tools I also teach women who struggle. I hate it when my husband drives. He doesn't do this. Well, what do you do? What benefit? Think about the benefit you could get from somebody driving you around. What benefits are there? It's also asking yourself, if your husband wants to do the lawn, if your husband wants to clean the gutters, if your husband wants to change all the light bulbs, if he wants to clean the dryer vent for you, think about what you could do in place of it. And that's something I always tell them. Whenever you want to, or you feel the need to do, when you know that's something he wants to do, what can you do instead? What would benefit you? What would bring you joy in that moment? And if it's a struggle for you to have that control and have that masculine energy, go somewhere. Go walk around a store. Do something for yourself. But it's time for our last break. What I wanted to say was one of the biggest benefits of letting go of the masculine energy and inviting in more of my feminine energy is I can just be. I can just be relaxed, calm. I feel even more now that I've let go. I'm more confident in myself because I know before I had all that masculine energy to prove to myself I can do everything. I can conquer the world. I can be superwoman. And now I am superwoman because I'm confident by just being in myself, taking the time to sit on the couch and read a book instead of being outside, letting him enjoy that. And yes, he still goes and plays his golf. He still does the things he enjoys to do, but he still does what he wants to do as a man. And I give that to them. And in a sense, I kind of reward him for it. So it is time for our last break here tonight on Emotional Elevator. I am Sandee Byrd. I'm the host. And if you want to reach out to me, you can reach out to me at sandeebyrd.com. My website kind of took on a new look. I have 3 programs coming up. I also, if you go on Eventbrite and look me up, I have a vision board class coming up in December 12th, all about aligning who you are, the I am affirmations, to your vision board. And that's how your visions come true. And then in January, starting in January, I'm going to be teaching a self class. It's a 4-week guided class on Zoom where we will be diving into self and really getting to know who we are. But if you want to work, and those are all in groups. So if you want to join me there, I am on Eventbrite. You can join me on that. Or if you send me an email or reach out to me on my website or any social media platform, I'll send you my upcoming newsletters that tells you what's going on. Because next year, there's also a retreat on the forefront. But if you want to work with me one-on-one, I have 3 great programs about unleashing your authentic self, thriving through forgiveness, and finding your empowerment within. Because as you let go of that masculine energy and invite that feminine energy, you might figure out who you really are. So let's go to that last break since we only got a couple of minutes left on the Emotional Elevator. I am Sandee Byrd, the host.
Are you living a life of psychological trauma or suffering from an addiction? Are you ready to learn new techniques to elevate your emotions without sustaining or obtaining them from substances that are not good for your mind or body. Then continue to tune into Emotional Elevator with trauma, addiction, life, and spiritual coach, Sandee Byrd, where you will learn techniques to elevate your emotions that don't require a magic pill, food, or impulsive behavior. Listen to Emotional Elevator with Sandee Byrd, Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Mountain, 4 p.m. Pacific, on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. This is Emotional Elevator with Sandee Byrd. To participate in this program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also send an email to sandy@emotionalelevator.com. Now, back to the program.
Well, welcome back. One of the benefits of being in my feminine power versus my masculine power is wearing lipstick, wanting to be pretty. I have spent most of my life proving myself out there in this world and proving that I can do anything on my own and being in control. And now letting that go, and the benefit from it for many women is to be who we're meant to be. Be who we're meant to be. Have that feminine energy. Wear that nice dress on a Wednesday just because I want to wear it. Put on those heels if you can wear heels. I cannot wear heels. I do wear a lot of boots with a little bit of heel, but I just don't do heels, never have. But just looking pretty and being able to just sit and read a book instead of worrying about the yard and the stuff, and being able to be free within myself, to feel what it feels like to be a woman, not necessarily in control, and to be confident within myself, because that's the main benefit, and that's the main thing I try to teach my clients. Is it's so rewarding, and you become more confident because you're not fighting against yourself anymore. Because when you're fighting that masculine energy, you're basically fighting against who you are. And it's more of fighting confidence and fighting self-worth and fighting your self-value instead of just being the woman that you're meant to be, the superwoman. But tonight's show, yes, has been all about the masculine versus feminine energy, and how when you are in relationships, how to sometimes let go of that masculine energy if you are used to being in control and just feeling like you've got to be the fixer, the doer, the provider. Because sometimes that's what we are, and we were raised to be these go-getter women. I'm not saying in the workplace not to be a go-getter woman. What I'm saying is when you're at home, if you're in a committed relationship with a man who wants to be that doer, that fixer, that provider, allow them their masculine energy. Because as much as we fight with our lack of confidence, think about that man that could be fighting for his lack of confidence. And just be that butterfly, that beautiful flower you're meant to be. So again, thank you for joining me. I'm Sandee Byrd. This is the Emotional Elevator. Reach out to me on any social media platform at Sandee Byrd. At my website, sandeebyrd.com. Let's work together one-on-one, or get on my newsletter mailing list. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Emotional Elevator Show. Sandee returns Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Mountain, 4 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. Until then, Start elevating your emotions and stop riding the emotional elevator that is stopping you from living the life you deserve.